And now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. This portion of the show is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Rancho Leonero, where your wildest Baja dreams come true. Maui Jim Sunglasses, the choice of the best captains. Shimano Rods and Reels, fish with the best. Shimano. And by Yamaha Outboards, official motor sponsor of Let's Talk Hookup. Here we go. Another great hour of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup. Here's Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Mexa, and Corey Sandin.
And welcome back. Hour number 2, Let's Talk Hookup, right here on the Let's Talk Hookup app and radio network. Pete Gray here with Rock Cod Rick Mexa in the world headquarters of Let's Talk Hookup, right here next to the San Diego landings. And we have a couple great guys, Captain Fred Huber from the Daily Double, Captain Steve Peterson from the Mission Belle, talking some serious fishing.
Yeah,
here.
man, this is great. Great show this morning. So much good info with these two guys. I love it. One of my favorite shows. If you want to join us this morning, phones are packed right now. We've got another full hour of your phone calls. Plenty of time to get through. 833-288-0973. That's how you reach us on Let's Talk Hookup. Not only are we talking fishing on the Daily Double, we're giving away an opportunity to go. Thanks to Fred, one lucky caller at the end of today's show is going to go fishing on a trip for 2 aboard the Daily Double. If you need tackle, we'll provide that for you as well. And you're going to get the brand new 2021 Bill Varney CCA calendar. Great prize at the end of the show today. Again, if you want to take advantage, 833-288-0973. Or text the show via the Let's Talk Hookup app. And a great text came through for Steve Peterson. This one is for both the guys, from Kurt in Mo Valley. Good morning, guys. I've seen a lot of guys fishing with jigs and using a narrow reel. Can you explain the difference between a normal size reel versus the narrow and how it might make an advantage?
Just the higher, generally when we talk about narrow reel, it can also be tall, and that will equate to higher speed. And some species that, like yo-yo fishing, a narrow reel has been kind of the cool thing. It started with like a narrow 4.0, the Yellowtail Special 4.0, and it's gone on to the Penn Baja, and then now of course everything, all the other fancy reels. But yeah, the narrow generally equals taller, equals faster. Yo-yo fishing, wahoo fishing, that's a big deal. It can be a big deal, and that's generally it.
Surface iron fishing, I know you're a Trinidad guy.
I'm a Trinidad guy.
You have a 16 narrow, a 16, a 20, and a 30. They're all the same reels as far as side plates and gears and guts and height. What of that series do you like? What do you
for surface iron 20? I own 4 of them, and because
Trinidad A.
Yeah, 4 Trinidad A's 20s for fishing surface iron.
Best reel ever made for it.
For the surface iron, absolutely, hands down.
With no comparison.
Nope, they're the best.
Yeah.
They're the best. Yeah, I have 4 of them because I don't buy one because once you do, you'll never want to
go the other way.
You'll never want to fish anything else.
Yeah.
I don't for fishing surface iron. I don't own another reel. Period.
Yeah. Pretty awesome.
And
you fish a lot of surface iron.
I fish a lot of surface iron.
And that 20 is that mix of it's skinny enough that it fits in your hand really good, still holds plenty of 40-pound. The right height. It's just that's like the old school 99.
Yep.
It wasn't quite a 500 and it wasn't quite a 501. It was just right in the middle. That's the Trinidad 20. I'm with you.
I wonder if Dave Pfeiffer designed that just because I know he's a crazy surface iron fisherman too.
I'm sure he's not bummed about it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, great text, man. Appreciate it. Again, if you want to send a text to the show, just jump on the Let's Talk Hookup app, fire off that text button, and send one right through. We always say too, try to let us know where your name, where you're from. Unfortunately, we're not able to respond to the text. It's a one-way system, but we love hearing them, and a great way to join in the fun.
Always nice to hear from you guys, for sure. Let's go ahead and jump in the phone.
Mark in Santee is up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Hi, Mark.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Great.
I got a question. What would be more advantageous to me to take a trip on the Daily Double in the morning or in the evening?
It's a good question. Fred?
Currently, right now, we've slowed our schedule down just to the 8:30 to 2:30 trip.
I like that run, man.
It's banker's hours.
Yeah.
We'll, once daylight savings times comes back, we'll roll out that second trip, the 3 in the afternoon to 8:30 in the evening, and that was sure fun this year. We had a lot of good fishing in the afternoon, evening, the sundown bite.
So the afternoon was the call this year.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was there a specific species he was aimed at, or what?
Which one's better to go?
I always tell customers it's you know what? If you're an afternoon person, do the afternoon. If you like sleeping in, if you're a morning person, jump on the boat in the morning. Don't let your schedule dictate when you go fishing. That's the beauty of it. Having 2 trips a day to choose from. Do what fits your schedule best.
Okay.
I mean, there's definitely times where one will be better than the other. Where it's like, okay, there's a trend right now where mornings are better, or there's a trend where the afternoon's better.
And how do you tell that?
Well, I mean, you follow the fish counts and see that.
Counts, okay.
But as far as predicting, I got in-laws coming in town and I want to take them fishing in July. It's like, okay, well, what works best for your schedule?
Right.
Yeah.
Like
we got
for
dinner
example,
do we need to make, or do we got to get everybody, everybody out early,
Yeah, they're coming from a time zone where they're 2 hours earlier. It's like the morning might work good.
They
might be restless by that time of day. So throw them on the boat and
that's
go to work.
That's the thing too. The Daily Double. You guys take out a lot of new fishermen, a lot of tourists, a lot of people that are new to fishing saltwater, not new to fishing in period. That's kind of what you cater to, right?
We are the entry level for Southern California
100%.
fishery, and it's a live bait fishery like no other in the world. And you can come with us, and we can talk about how to handle a bait and get it on your hook and get it in the water, and such a stepping stone to what an incredible fleet we have here, and the exposure. And we do a lot of different styles, whether it's in the fall we started putting the feathers on and going after bonita and fishing them tuna style like Steve does offshore.
Nice.
Or various bottom fishing. I mean, we target best bite. And whatever that looks like to give our customers a shot of having good game fishing or
but then you also have seasoned veterans that come fishing with you on a regular basis too, right?
We do a lot of bass fishing. The guys that fish with me on a regular basis, they want to catch a calico bass or a sand bass, and they want to catch it on the plastic or on a live bait. And I've got a following of guys that
bass fishermen.
Yeah, but they understand. They show up and there's a better bite offshore for bonita. They understand and they go with it. So some of them do. Some of them get a little cranky on me. So was that guy.
But like you say, you said it best, and I loved that terminology. You're going for the best bite. You're going to do whatever the best opportunity to provide some good fishing for your customers are. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, water's cold and funky inside. It's like, gee guys, we're not going to get to bass fish today. We'll fish deep water for rockfish.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of it is we have so many options.
Yeah.
We have so many options. It amazes me, if not, then go to. And, it's endless, the different things we can target.
For sure. Hey, thanks a lot for the phone call this morning.
All right, let's jump right back into him and talk to Bruce. He's called us from Lemon Grove this morning. Hi, Bruce. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Hey, Steve, what's kind of the distance of the boat for your day when you're out?
What's our maximum distance? I mean, we're how far?
Yeah.
Our range is like 50 miles or so. I mean, occasionally we'll have to stretch it, but generally speaking, we're hoping to make our day 30 miles, 20 miles, wherever we have to go. But generally speaking, 50, and occasionally, we'll stretch it out if there's something good to run for. But about 50 miles or so is about about max. That's a lot of driving.
All right, thanks a lot.
You can go 50 miles.
That's a long way.
That's
a long way.
There were some epic. There were some 3/4 day boats that made some trips that I thought would have been unthinkable a few years ago. Yeah, I know of one boat that I think ran 64 miles to get to to get to a kelp.
That's a That's a long way.
That's incredible.
Yeah, indeed. Hey, thanks a lot for the phone call. Good question, though. Thanks a lot for the call this morning.
You got it. Hey, let's jump right back into him. This time we're going to talk to Brian. He's calling us from Claremont this morning. Good morning, Brian. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, guys. I just got a quick question. I watched on the news this past week, and the Hubs Research Center let a bunch of small 7-inch halibut go about Fiesta Island area. I was just wondering if you guys have any idea on how long that stuff will last, or I mean, if Hub is doing it, it's gonna probably go on.
Yeah, they're actively, and you heard Mike Shane here on the show a couple weeks ago. They're actively doing a lot of different stuff with halibut and maybe yellowtail and of course the white sea bass, right?
Yeah, we had a great show with Mike on a few weeks ago. In addition to doing their hatchery program with sea bass, they are also doing it with halibut. They were given a lot of things that the Department of Fish and Wildlife wanted them to work on, and halibut was one of them. And they said that there was a learning curve. It's a different fish than growing sea bass, but they were very successful with it, and the first release happened in Mission Bay here this last week. So yeah, it's just a project they're going to continue on. They talked about that there's the diversity in fish stocks from where they get their broodstock halibut from. It was a very interesting show. If you didn't catch it, it's available on our Let's Talk Hookup app. It was just Mike Shane from Hub SeaWorld, and it was a great one. Just kind of talked about the project and what they do.
October 12th.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you go on our letstalkhookup.com or Let's Talk Hookup app, just look for Mike Shane. I believe it was October 12th.
Yeah, it was a great show.
And listen to the show. You'll
It
be able to
was
learn
really
a lot,
cool info.
a lot from the archives there for sure. Hey, thanks a lot for the phone call this morning. Hey, great text just came through. I think it's very appropriate here. Do you prefer Spectra to Top Shot Mono, Top Shot for your Trinidad 20A when talking about surface iron? And then his follow-up is favorite jig stick. And then he says also fished the Daily Double as a kid back in the 70s and 80s. Great memories. Started my love affair with fishing from Scott and El Segundo. So thanks to Fred for getting them started with that love affair. And what do you think? What do you do on what's your Trinidad A loaded with?
My Trinidad A is loaded with monofilament, 40-pound test.
Straight mono.
Straight. Well, I'll have like 120 or 30 or 40 yards of mono. I'll have some Spectra down deep inside to save money when I don't have to change a full, I don't have to change 300 yards of mono at a time.
40-pound mono.
40-pound mono. Let it rip. Yeah, the braid, it can be done. There are guys that pull it off. There's some guys that pull it off well. There's some guys that do it well. There's some guys that try to do it and it doesn't work out. But there's
some that are a nightmare.
Yeah, sometimes it's a disaster. I don't know. It can be done, but I for fishing for casting Spectra, I like a reel that has a level line like the Tranks. If you were dead set on throwing a surface iron with braid, I'd go with the Tranks 500. Tranks 500.
Yeah. It's the perfect surface iron reel if you want to fish Power Pro.
It is possible you can do it, but there's a pretty steep learning curve, and I see people that can fish okay and cast okay and decide that braid's the way to go, and it's like getting really good at skiing and then go snowboarding, being miserable for a week.
The number one loss of a good surface iron is a guy that's fishing straight braid and just tries to really rear back and fire one out. Like, you need to be very disciplined in how you're making your cast, in how I'm with Steve. Everything that he just said is so dead on.
Zing pow.
And a big thing too that was that his top shot is 120 or 130 yards, and that's a big thing too. A lot of guys will, whatever. I'm never going to cast 100 yards, so I'll make it that. Maybe if the entire thing isn't coming off the reel, that's one thing, but your connection is starting to get close. And if you're only putting 75 or 80 yards and you're casting 60 or 70 of those yards off, now your connection's coming up, and when the line's coming off, it's got to rub off of that thing. And 120 yards puts that low enough that you're just, you got a little tangle, and you were hooked up with this fish, and you had to pull 10 or 20 feet off the reel. Like, that setup is so dead on. That's awesome.
What about the rod, Steve?
I'm Alua's Super Seeker Alua's.
Okay.
10-foot Super Seeker. 10-foot Super Seeker Alua's. Yep. That's what I've settled in on. That's my favorite right now.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, good question. Thanks for the
great,
text.
yeah.
Appreciate that. Speaking of Tranks 500 and casting, was there any results from the casting contest yesterday?
Yep. Casting contest went well in adverse conditions, and it was very close down to the end. It was won with an 87-yard cast from Hollis from El Cajon, one of our regular callers. Norm Campbell, who's a guy who's won the, a good friend of the show and big supporter of Friends Raw, has won the casting contest twice before. He was in second place, couldn't quite seal the deal. 1 yard shy. We had 87 was the winner. 86 was in second.
That's
I
a big
believe
cast.
84 or third. Monster cast with in not easy conditions and on a 9-foot rod, not a 10. It was very impressive. Like those are some great casts.
What are you casting? What lure?
Tranks 500. Excuse me. Tranks 500. 40-pound triple X.
40-pound mono.
Yep.
Triple X,
40-pound triple X mono. 7X light with a Terramar 9-foot rod.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
that's a big cast for that outfit.
And they're it's laser rangefinder, flagger. It's legit. Those 86 and 87s and 85. Those are I would say the average tends to be somewhere in the 60s. 60 yards, 70 yards, 50 to 70. That's the average.
Still a good cast
of a good caster.
Yeah.
So those guys that are hitting 80 and 90 yards. It's a long ways.
Yeah. I know. There were boats that were in jeopardy yesterday for some long casts, including mine, I think.
Yeah, I think you were pretty safe. You got to really be able to send one to get down
send
here.
one to get
it's doable,
that far,
but you
sure.
got to really get one.
Yeah, that was a good one. Hey, let's go down and find out what's going on the water. Our fishdope.com recorder, Captain Dave Hansen, is standing by.
Yep, and that report today is sponsored by Dana Landing on Mission Bay, your one-stop shop for everything you need to go fishing. They have a complete saltwater tackle shop. They have a full deli. They offer Mexican and California licenses, trips and six-pack charters, and when it comes to freshwater tackle, check out East County Bait and Tackle, full of all the freshwater tackle and live bait that you need for a great day in the lake. Dana Landing is right across from SeaWorld next to the Dana Lawn Tramp in Mission Bay, and East County Bait and Tackle, they're at the end of the 67 freeway at Mapleview and Lakeside. Check danalanding.com for more info.
Hey, Captain Dave, what's up?
Hey, good morning, Rick, Pete, Fred, Steve. Thanks for having me on the show this morning. Well, gang, it happened. We finally got that big blow that we've all been afraid that was going to happen. And here it is. And like I heard everybody talking, nobody knows what it's going to look like on the other side of this. But I can promise you one thing. If I was up there right now, I would have all my hoop net gear ready because I'd be going hooping tonight because it's going to be phenomenal. It is going to be awesome, man. Those lobsters have been waiting for this. The bottom's all stirred up. We had a bunch of rain. They're going to be crawling like crazy. You're going to see some phenomenal pictures tomorrow on Facebook and Instagram. There is going to be some good lobster fishing tonight. If any of you guys have the opportunity to go, Pete, this should be the night you and Rick go out on your boat and go catch some lobsters.
There you go.
Go get some lobsters for your wives. And I bet you they'd be very happy if you went lobster fishing tonight because I can almost guarantee limits. It's going to be that good if you know where to go and how to do it because they love it when it's all stirred up on the bottom and they get that false sense of security and they just want to go home with you and have a nice dinner at your house. So what we might see after this too, Rick, Pete, we might see some squid because that's been missing from the bite for a while, and that water could really drop at Catalina because of all this wind. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mark Wish isn't talking about squid the next couple of weeks over there at Catalina. So
okay, we're ready for that.
Nobody really knows what's going to happen, but that would be my prediction. Good lobster fishing the next few nights, and good possibility of some squid over there at Catalina. And like everybody's saying, I doubt very seriously that bluefin's going anywhere because there's so much feed and there's so much bluefin. They're not leaving. They don't care about the water temperature. They just want to eat, and they just want to go to your house and have dinner with you.
That's it. Yeah, and of course, Danny, Jeff, and the boys at fishdope.com, they have the knowledge to keep you on Catalina, Tancomini Island, the bank, offshore, inshore here in San Diego or Orange County. Fishdope.com is your source for all the information. $20 off a new membership to fishdope.com using the code HookUpNow. Lowercase, no space. HookUpNow is your $20 code. And Dave, how do we find you?
Well, I heard a guy talking about the kite and stuff like that. Pretty much anything and everything that has to do with fishing in Southern California, your bait tank, everything. I cover over there on yoursaltwaterguide.com, gang. I have over 300 how-to videos on the website. Go check it out, yoursaltwaterguide.com. We pretty much have anything and everything to do with fishing in Southern California, so you don't have to follow Steve and Fred around anymore on your private boat. You could actually go find your own fish.
That's it. Sounds good. Thanks, Dave, and we will talk to you next Sunday, and we'll see how these predictions come out for sure.
I like it.
Absolutely. Kelly and I are going to go catch some Dorado right now because, like John Ireland said, the weather down here is phenomenal and the Dorado fishing is insane. So that's what we're doing today. I just waited to talk to you guys.
Oh, just rub it in a little bit, why don't you? Huh?
I got a message from Dallas that said, if you go lobster fishing without me, I would not be happy about it. Lobster is her favorite thing to go fishing for.
There you go. Well, you got a puller, too, since your arms,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll drive, you pull.
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect team.
All right, there you go.
Great report, Dave. Appreciate it very much, buddy. We'll look forward to talking to you next week.
All right, guys. Thanks. Bye.
All right, that's going to wrap up the Catch Sports today. Again, Anza Knives, handcrafting knives in the USA for over 3 decades. Check out the Fish Pro series and that custom bluefin and yellowfin knives from Anza. They're made from high-carbon steel, which holds a great edge, and they're easy to sharpen. Anza knives are the finest fillet knives ever produced. Anza has great details, offers great knives for law enforcement, hunting, and military as well. Check out Anza Knives for more details and get that Fish Pro series available at Fisherman's Processing.
All right, let's go ahead and jump back in the phone.
You got it, buddy. How about this time we talked to Ben? He's calling us from Golden Hill this morning. Hi, Ben. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, how you doing? I just wanted to say thank you for that tackle day. That was awesome. I took away a great deal of knowledge from the guys that were putting on the seminars. I had a question for the captain. What's the youngest you see people start bringing their kids to start fishing? And I'm also taking off to a trip down in San Quintin for just all the guys. Any trips or tips on my trip coming up?
As far as age for kids, I started my kids generally 5-ish, much earlier than that. I mean, there's maybe 4, but 5 seems to be about as early as you can hold their attention and maybe get them involved. But then there's 5 and 6 year olds that they're not quite ready for it. So
Sure.
It's a parenting choice, but my go-to number is 5.
5.
That's
okay.
cool.
That's and do you get a lot of young kids coming on the boat?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're entry level and not so much
That's
now.
it.
We've limited our loads, so it's a little bit.
What is the load limit?
24.
24 on the daily double. Wow.
One passenger per 6 foot of rail space.
Okay.
And, that's. Steve and I have talked about it for years, going to less passengers and more of a ticket price. And boy, the people have really turned out for it, and
they like it.
It's
They like it.
If there's
It's
one
worth
thing
paying the
COVID,
extra
if
money
there's one
for
thing
the-
COVID taught us, it was that. It was
Yeah.
that, the majority
Less
of
is
people
more.
would prefer to pay a couple extra bucks and have a few less people do.
absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, Steve? What's the load on the Mission Belle?
Same, 24.
24 people.
Yes, sir. It's
And,
gotta be so.
and what about taking kids fishing on the Mission Belle on a full day?
It's a long day.
It's
It's a long day. If your kid is into fishing and your kid is up for a long day, yeah, by all means. I'm not sure what, like Fred said, it's a parenting decision.
Yeah.
Some kids 8, 10 years old can handle it. Some kids 65 years old can't handle it.
I understand that for sure. So it just depends on if the kid's willing to go at 5:30 in the morning and stay out till 5 or 6 at night.
Yeah, I think you'd better have a pretty good feel for their degree of fishing, how much they're into it on a 3/4 day trip.
Totally.
Because it's a long day, and if you're going to figure out whether your kid likes to fish, 3/4 day is probably not full day is what we call them nowadays. Is not the venue for you. Half day is a great spot.
If they love going with Fred in the morning and they're begging you to re-ride the boat in the afternoon and go back out there, send them with Steve again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No problem. And if half day is the way to start, and you're going to get your gauge and you're going to know right away.
Yep.
And if they're, come on, let's do the re-ride. Can we stay for a twilight? Whatever that may be, that's the time. That's when it's time to start going full day
Some
fishing.
kids come out by themselves or with their buddies when they're 12 or 13 years old. Their moms, like I did when I was a kid.
Sure.
I was 13 years old, and they dropped me off, and I'd be gone for a day.
Go out.
Camp Daily Double.
Yeah,
Camp Daily Double. It happens a lot, right, Fred?
Yeah. Well, you look at what it costs to dump your kid off at the Y for whatever camps they're doing there. Boat ticket.
Totally.
We're competitive.
Yeah. And also, with your winter runs or your fall-winter schedule here at 8:30 to 2:30, right? What a perfect thing for a kid. Doesn't have to get up early in the morning.
Totally.
bring them out.
Easy
but
fishing.
make reservations. Though, only 24, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like Steve was saying, that's how we cut our teeth on it. I mean,
Sure.
who knows? If you drop your kid off on the boat, who knows what it might lead to?
Yeah, indeed. Hey, thanks a lot for the phone call this morning. Text question through our Let's Talk Hookup app for Captain Fred. What's your favorite rod and reel setup for throwing surface iron for calico bass, mono size? Since you're a number one fan of braid, what do you think? And then that's from Rich P from San Pedro.
That's funny.
Oh my! You know what? I still have a Harnell, and that 10-foot Harnell for a jig stick. I love it. I fish fairly light, 30-pound mono for calico bass, and I'm happy with that. And what current reel? I got a Shimano. It's not the fancy dancy one.
Torium 20.
It's a Torium 20, yeah.
Which is a good reel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great reel.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Hey, thanks a lot for the call this morning.
Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming right, including a big block of your phone calls. Phones are packed up. We do have one line open that we just dropped off there from. If you want it, it's yours. 833-288-0973. More Let's Talk Hookup when we return on the Let's Talk Hookup app and radio network.
Turner's Outdoorsman, Southern California's #1 shooting, hunting, and fishing tackle retailer since 1971, is right in your neighborhood. Now with stores throughout Southern, Central, and Northern California. No one does it better. Turner's Outdoorsman brings you the best prices and selection, plus a knowledgeable staff that will help make your day on the water or in the field more fun. Stop by your neighborhood Turner's Outdoorsman. To find a location nearest you, check the web at turners.com and sign up for special deals and more. Many years ago, Baja pioneer Bob Van Wormer found the area he called the Great Fish Trap in the East Cape of southern Baja and built what is now regarded as the premier East Cape resorts of Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol. Today, following in their father's footsteps, Bob's sons, Bobby, Chucky, and Eddie, have taken Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol to new levels with the largest sport fishing fleet in Mexico, a luxurious spa, and top-of-the-line resort amenities. Van Wormer Resorts have become a destination for travelers worldwide. But for us, Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol are just a short 2-hour flight away. No other tropical fishing destination offers the experience and value that you'll find at Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol. Now you can plan your Baja fishing vacation quick and easy by visiting VanWormerResorts.com. And when you're ready to book, it's quick and easy. Or simply call 877-777-TUNA for more information. Van Wormer Resorts, the East Cape's finest.
Let's talk candidly about long-range fishing. This is Captain Frank Lepresti of the Royal Polaris and the Shogun. Nowhere on earth will you find a fleet of long-range boats like we have in San Diego. We are fortunate to have several top-notch operations to take you to the most productive fishing grounds in the world. We all offer good food, comfortable staterooms, huge bait capacity, and top-of-the-line fish-finding electronics. So why would you choose the Royal Polaris or the Shogun for your next long-range trip? What sets us apart from the rest? It's pretty simple. The boats, the crew, and the service. From the moment you arrive at Fisherman's Landing, the service begins. We help you load your gear and do everything possible to get beginners or seasoned veterans ready to catch fish. When it's time to fish, the Royal Polaris and the Shogun have the edge there too, delivering the 2 best fishing platforms in the fleet. But don't take my word for it. Come fishing with us. If you want the best, it's Royal Polaris and the Shogun. For more information, call 619-226-8030 or on the web at royalpolarissportfishing.com or shogunsportfishing.com.
Cast Tours is a family-owned and operated travel company that specializes in taking you to great fishing destinations. They take pride in providing the best and most affordable vacation packages available. For over 20 years, Cast Tours has been creating unique sport fishing and vacation trips. Whether it's a fishing trip, a family vacation, or an adventure, they will provide you the service and value you deserve. Call Cast Tours at 800-593-6510 or check casttours.com.
2 years ago, Gamakatsu set out to develop a hook light enough for live bait to swim naturally, yet strong enough to handle your next trophy bluefin. The answer? The Gamakatsu Nautilus Heavy Duty. Most captains agree the Gamakatsu Nautilus hook is best for tuna. And now with the introduction of the Nautilus HD, no matter how big the tuna, Gamakatsu has a hook to handle it. The new Nautilus HD is now available with solid ring or standard hook. Get it now at select tackle shops and start getting bit.
Hookup!
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Phones are packed up. Texts are rolling through. Man, this has been a great show.
So we were talking casting contest during the break, and Fred's got a great story about his son, Philip. So I know you told it to Western Out There News, which, of course, check out Western Out There News. I'll bet they have some great info on the tuna tournament.
No doubt,
coming up here on their digital
Just wrapped
version
up
this week. So be sure to check out wonews.com and the Western Out There News tuna tournament for sure. But, okay, so tell a story about Philip and his casting.
Okay.
I bet he's a pretty good caster.
Yes. So he's 22 now, and I think he was maybe 12 at the time. So this was 10 years ago at Day of the Docks, and they had a kids division, which was something new at the time. And Philip was in it, and Michelle had sent me, text on the boat. Philip's in the cast-off up against a 15-year-old, and then the next text, Philip won. They're presenting him a prize on the main stage at 2 o'clock if you can get off the boat and attend. So, of course, I did. And they walk him up on the main stage and with the adult, and he's kind of proud, and his his head's held high. He won the kids casting contest, and they make the announcements. First time. Congratulations, Philip Huber. You win a free half-day fishing trip, and his head kind of dips down. Aboard the Daily Double. And then his head really dipped down because, they had no idea.
That's great.
But, we donate different prizes and stuff like
That's
that.
a great story.
It was funny.
Yeah, and he spent his whole life learning to cast on the Daily
that's
Double,
where he
right?
learned that skill. So
that's a good story.
We told him somebody wanted to buy the passes. So
there you go.
We
now,
paid
did
him off.
Did he at least get a trophy, I hope?
No.
It was just a prize.
No, we don't.
All right.
Not everybody's a winner in our household. We had a lot of fun at his expense.
Yeah,
and his skin is that thicker because of it.
Yeah, and we're still telling the story 10 years later, right?
Yeah, there it is.
What's Philip doing now? What's he driving now? Every time I get to see him now, he's on some big giant rig doing some big move across the ocean. What's
that
was
the
latest in Philip's career?
That was quite. He just did his internship at Cal Maritime. He was Ralph Botticelli Jr. got him on a ocean going tug, and they pulled a barge. This barge was 100 feet wide, 400 feet long.
Oh my God!
They started in Seattle. They went up to Canada. They put on 15,000 tons of sand.
What?
15,000, 30 million tons or pounds of sand, and they took it from Canada to Honolulu, refueled, crossed to the Marshall Islands, unloaded, back to Honolulu, refueled, and back to Seattle. So
that's crazy.
That was his internship at Cal Maritime.
Do you have a rough estimate on how many days a trip like that?
It was a little over 2 months, I believe.
2 months?
No way.
That's a big trip.
That's cool.
Well, and that included some dock time and standby time, and but he was gone. He was gone for 2 solid months.
Is he enjoying his new career?
Well, he's still in school.
Still in school.
That was the internship, and he's still working towards his Third Mates Unlimited license.
Which would put him where?
Well, kind of. So a Third Mates Unlimited will let you work on any ship in the world, any place in the world, and that Third Mates Unlimited. You want to run a 100-ton boat like your dad does? Go ahead. That also is.
But you could also run
100-ton masters. So
you could run a car carrier, or you could run a.
Well, he can't run those big ships yet.
Yeah.
He's got the entry level into the big shipping. But just seeing the tugging world, and I've basically what I told him coming into it. It's like, look, you're willing to work at sea. There's good money to be made.
Right.
It's in freight. It's in marine construction. It's in oil and mineral. Passengers is the most expensive cargo to carry, and we kind of take a hit because of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
If you're willing to work at sea, there's good money. Just not so much in our industry.
Yeah.
Love the lifestyle. I feel so fortunate. I get to do what I get to do. But I've kind of pushed him to this, and he's enjoying it.
That's great.
He'll be able to make some big boy money at a young age, and do this too. It's like
if he wants to. Yeah.
He came in, and the next semester starts in January, and he's worked 2 trips on the Mission Belle since he's been home. He's over in the valley shooting geese. He's made a trip up to NoCal and shot a bunch of ducks. He got his first wood duck, and so it's the thing about the marine industry. They'll work 2 months on and have 2 months off.
Nice.
Or a month on and a month off, or 6 months. And
he went to the Maritime Institute where?
That's up in Vallejo, California.
Okay.
Yeah. So he should graduate next year.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And they train captains there for big ship runs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
So
cool.
like the long range boats, that unlimited license, they'll want that.
Mm-hmm.
People in this industry will want them, and he's a good kid and a good fisherman.
He certainly
I'm
has
a little biased, but he's a good kid.
And he certainly has a sea time too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, phones are packed. Let's jump back into it.
You got that right, buddy. How about Jason in Sereno Valley up next on Let's Talk Hookup? What's up, Jason?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Great.
Good morning.
Good. Hey, I had a question. I'm one of those kids that you guys were talking about that used to get dropped off at 12 years old, 5 in the morning, and hop on the boat. And if we had a good day, I went out a second time. And I'm, I've since, I don't know, progressed is the right word, but I've just been doing a lot of tuna and Dorado this year, and I was thinking about taking the boys out, and they're around that age now too, and. That's funny. You guys were talking about sheep's head. They saw pictures of those. So not that you kind of answered the question earlier about targeting species, but just keep an eye on the fish report. That's the best idea if that's the kind of fishing you guys are doing before we book a trip.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if that's what you got your heart set on catching, if we're turning in limits of bonita, there's a good chance that we're not anchoring up in the kelp beds, where if you're seeing bass and whitefish and rockfish and a little bit of bonita in the mix, plus if the fish you want to catch is what we're turning in, that's definitely the time to go. I mean, if I turned in 40-50 sheephead the day before, there's a pretty good chance I'm going to look there again tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure.
And you always call down to the landing. Those guys will keep you up to date on what's going on, I'm sure.
Yeah, they'll let you know. Following the fish counts, you see trends. And that's something I do every night. I think everybody in this room, all 4 of us, do that every night. We look at fish counts and see who's doing what, and you can kind of decipher. You can kind of decipher where somebody's fishing by their fish count. And that's part of what we do. If we're in the industry, it's like, I wonder what you did today, and it's like, I bet you he did this. Yeah. We're all little Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, thanks a lot for the phone call this morning.
How about Chuck from Long Beach up next on Let's Talk Hookup? Hi, Chuck. Good morning.
Hello, I'm doing fair, guys.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good morning.
So yesterday I was fortunate enough. I came down to the docks and I was the winner of the Tranks from the Friends of Rollo.
Hey!
Wow!
Right
Congratulations.
Nice, Chuck.
Yeah. So what do I do with it? How do I spool it? What should I put it on?
Rick?
It's a fantastic reel.
Tranks 500.
Go fishing on the Daily Double with it.
Yeah, Tranks 500, as Steve said, that it's a great reel for casting artificial lures. It's very user-friendly. Level wind allows you to make a cast with straight spectra if that's how you wanted to fish it. The variable braking system on the reel allows for someone who maybe isn't an expert angler to dial up that centrifugal force brake system, and you can really become a proficient caster. The reel will aid you in lessening backlash, and then as you become more proficient, you can back some of those brakes off, and you can, as seen in the casting contest, you can achieve some fantastic distance with that reel. It's just a really nice, user-friendly reel for casting a jig. And with that reel, either do like we did in the casting contest, where you just fill it full of 40-pound mono and cast a surface iron with it, or you could fill that reel with 65 or even 80-pound max quattro. That's how I have mine. I got 85-pound 80-pound Max Quattro. I got 325 yards. If you were into a scenario where you're casting a lure at a tuna or something like that, it allows for a lot of line. And something like a popper where you're not necessarily always stacking the line nice and straight and perfect, it allows for really good repeat casts. It's just a great reel for casting an artificial jig.
I love that Max Quattro 80-pound on the Tranks.
Same.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, hope that helps you out. Thanks a lot for the phone call this morning. That does free up a toll-free line. You want to get through. It's been a busy morning.
Yeah.
Tough to get through. Here's your chance. 833-288-0973. Time to get through right now.
Yeah. How about Harry in La Jolla up next on Let's Talk Hookup? What's up, Harry?
Good morning. First of all, Pete, I want to tell you that I'm on the kayak trip.
Great. Always a pleasure having you, Harry.
Trip. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. Rick, you did a great job yesterday with the emceeing, but you also helped me on the information on that upcoming trip that I have tomorrow to La Bucana. So thank you for that.
All right,
Steve, I have to tell you, I've gone out with you guys on numerous occasions, but I went with you back in December of 2015 when you were part of the Mike Lackey trip down to El Salto.
Oh, hi there, Harry. How you doing?
I'm doing fine because of you guys and the reception that you gave me. Although there were a lot of pranks that you played on me, but
you deserved it.
You've made me an El Salto regular. I've been down there now 12 times since then. So I want to thank you. And
that place is
also, I've fished on the Daily Double, and I want to thank you guys too because you do a great job.
Welcome, Harry.
That's cool.
All right, Harry. Thanks for all the support. And I know, Mike Lum was telling me that you are a huge supporter of Captain Rollo's Kids at Sea, Friends of Rollo, too, and that's much appreciated. Harry's a classic example of a guy that loves to fish, and he gives back, too.
That's cool.
So
Good job, Harry.
Appreciate that, Harry, very much. Thanks a lot for the call.
Hey, we got a great text that came through. This one is, can the boys elaborate on what the secret is to grabbing the best bait in the tank?
Good one.
Yeah, and also just how do you identify the best bait in the tank, and how do you grab the super hot bait from the bait well?
All right. What do you think, guys? Steve?
There's a lot that goes into it. Boy, I don't think most people that don't do this a lot, don't give it as much respect as it deserves.
Yeah.
Fishing bait is a lot more difficult than most people want to think it is. And chasing good bait, I mean, it's just the simple, the basics, clean, not missing any scales. And if you just look at it, if the color's wrong and it doesn't look like a clean, perfect specimen, it's not. When you touch them, if it feels slimy, that's a better chance that it's a good bait. Slimy is a good thing for your bait. Just moving fast, not upside down, not in the corner doing something stupid, not pinned in the, he's swimming actively. He's actively trying to evade you. And then catching him is just a matter of going up underneath the bait slowly and, kind of maybe you have to pin into a corner. And then once you have it in your hand, you want to get it on your hook and out of your hand as soon as possible. That is a big thing. I see someone walking around carrying their bait. That is a bad look.
Yeah. Get it pinned on and get it in the water, right?
Yeah, the bait fishing there's so many little subtle things that make it go from a well-presented bait to a poorly presented bait, and people don't give it the amount of effort and the amount of time it takes to really fishing a bait well is every bit as difficult, if not more so, than fishing a surface iron fairly well. If you can cast really well, you can fish a surface iron fairly well, good enough. But boy, oh boy, being a really dialed-in bait fisherman is just huge. And then on tuna fishing, any kind of fishing, I mean, it's just so critical. And the half day is fishing the calico bass. If you can fire out a sardine into the kelp bed and catch a bass and do it consistently, you're going to be a good bait fisherman.
Yeah.
Period.
No death grip on the bait when you do get a hold of them.
Yeah. Walking around carrying your bait, and then you let go of your bait, and your hand is full of scales, and you go, man, I didn't get a bite, and man, that guy in the corner got another bite. Look at that guy; he's got his fifth one, and you're sitting there with your hand rubbing scales off.
If you got to wipe your hand off on your jeans afterwards, you probably didn't do it right.
Yeah, your bait is wrecked.
Yeah. So what about the color of the bait? I mean, like green ones, blue ones. I mean, does that make a difference?
Yeah. I mean, I think Yeah, I think there's anchovies. It seems like there's more like a green one versus a blue one. Yeah, I mean just basic overall health.
But uniformity. In
Yeah,
the color.
yeah, uniform. You don't want something that's dinged up, missing scales, and red on the fins and whatever. Dinged up in the nose. Its face is messed up. It's been running to the side of the bait well or whatever.
Yeah,
there's a lot that goes into fishing bait well.
How that thing enters the water makes a big difference too. I mean, a guy that fires a averagely long cast, but the bait's 50 feet up in the air and slaps the water real hard. A lot of times, a guy that can just very lightly underhand a bait and just get it a good head start, but it hits the water running nice and easy. Like that bait will outperform the guy that maybe hit the water another 20 feet farther, but his bait hits the water and is stunned and it's not swimming nearly as good.
Yeah,
people see the cast and they assume that the cast is what made the difference in that bait, and quite often it's not. I mean, the cast went along with it. Don't get me wrong, casting well helps sometimes. But it's all the other stuff. The one thing that you can look at and go, oh, that's the difference, is that guy can cast really well. Now, you can do a lot to improve your bait game, even if you can't cast, if you take the steps and fish the bait to get a good bait.
How long do you soak that bait?
It depends on what you're fishing for and what's going on. If I'm fishing if I can see fish I can see fish boiling, or I can see fish, or I feel like I should get a bite quick and I don't get a bite fast, it's out of there. 30 seconds. I mean, that sounds like crazy. 30 seconds, you're out of your mind. It's less. It's 10 seconds.
The reality is you're not waiting 30 seconds.
If I fire a bait out and I should be getting a bite in my estimation, and I don't get a bite when I think I should, my bait's coming in and new one's coming. Unless he's performing well. If he's shooting down and doing everything right, I'll give him a little more time to fish. But if I feel like I should get a bite quick and I'm not, or somebody else gets a bite quick and I don't, and I've been baits from the water for 15 seconds, he's out. Next.
Okay. How about hooking your bait? Oh, you're on a school of tuna offshore on the Mission Belle. How are you hooking that bait?
Depends on how fast I think I should get my bite. If I need a perfect bait that performs perfectly, that does everything right, if it's a really tough, touchy bite, and if the bait's a medium or larger sardine, I'm going to maybe go for for the back of the head.
Collar hook.
No, neck, whatever. Shoulder, whatever you want to call it. If it's going to take a really good, well-presented bait, perfectly presented to get a bite, I'll probably shoulder hook it. Up to a certain, and when they get to tiny, then I switch back to the nose. And if I feel like I'm going to get a bite really quickly, if it doesn't really matter if my bait's perfect, I'll nose hook, because just so you can cast it farther and a bit more durable in the water, it's not likely to fall or get a bite and lose your bait and just have your hook left over, because that happens with a shoulder hook, and it especially happens with a belly hook.
All right, what about the size of the hook now? Has it been making a difference on size?
Yeah, on touchy, on a picky bite, a small bait, a small hook with a small bait, and if the tougher it is to get a bite, the smaller the hook.
I'll tell you what, we've seen a big thing in the tackle store this year is last year 90% of the time that you went, the bait was really small. Last year we just had a lot of really small bait, and so a lot of guys were forced to fish with really small hooks, 2s and 4s and things like that. So many big fish got caught on, and lost. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that fishing a number 4 is always a good call. Mostly it's not. You want to fish as big a hook as you can. But so much success was seen with 2s and 4s and that small hook last year that come this year, even with, back to being average size baits again, 90% of what we sell is sub 1.0 size hooks.
I agree. I look at a 2.0 hook on my dash now.
It's like huge.
What is that big dumb thing?
Hook,
what is that big dumb thing? We used to use those. That was standard.
Yeah,
you're right, for sure.
What about on the half day, Fred? Size of the hook.
I fish a lot of ones and twos.
Ones and twos.
Yeah.
All right.
The tackle shop used to send us out with either 2s or 2.0s, and the 2.0s. 2.0s if you're bottom fishing and you got a bunch of junk on there, okay. But for fishing the weeds, not so much.
Yeah,
I'd rather fish a 1 or a 2.
Yeah. Okay. And what about bottom fishing? Okay, we're coming up on that time of the year when you're probably going to be shifting over to bottom fish. You using a bigger hook for bottom fish?
Oh, not necessarily. I mean, it depends. I mean, if we've had quality reds and gachos and that stuff's biting, then we'll size up. Just so you have a better bite on the fish, a better hook set. And
sure,
if you're fishing 240 feet of water, you want a little bit more hook than a 2.
What about your secret bait, your sheephead?
Just plop it on the hook. It's a lot of that fish came on, like I say, twos, ones, 1-0s.
Perfect last text there to get rolling through. Speaking on that bottom fishing style thing is wanting to know what you guys think of the proposed bag limit of 5 fish for vermilion rockfish.
Well, it's we're conservationists, first and foremost. We're not extremists, and there are times when you have something that's producing good fish for you, and it's frustrating when you can fill out a boat limit of 10 fish per person, but you're told to stop. I started.
But it's just vermilion, though. I mean, you can still catch bocage and you can still catch chili peppers, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
5's enough.
Yeah. It's 5 should be enough.
We've been dealing with Mexico, we're fishing the Coronado Islands, especially even on a full day trip. And at 5 reds, I mean,
that's a lot of reds.
When they're biting good, oh yeah. I mean, could you load up? And is there that part of my brain that goes, oh, let's get these things?
Yeah.
But 5, honestly, 5. I took home 5 reds and I ate them the other day. They're fantastic. They're
fantastic.
The best fish in the ocean.
Yeah, they are. Let's be real about it. They're so good.
Yeah. We want to preserve it.
I will say this. I always hope there's room to open things back up, because unfortunately these laws sometimes they come in and trying to go the other direction. Once you give something up, I always worry about the ability to get it back. And
and also too with the new political wave that's coming in too, you watch out. I mean, it's going to be more conservative, and we're going to have to maybe make some changes there, but we'll hope not. But we'll see, right?
Is it conservative or progressive?
I thought these were liberals.
Yeah. Well, I meant the other way. I mean, conservative limits is what I mean. They're going to be more preservationist, shall we say?
More restrictive?
Right? More restrictive. That would be the proper terminology.
No comment.
Yeah.
Hey, when we come back, we're going to find out who's going fishing on the Daily Double and getting that great CCA calendar. You stay tuned. More Let's Talk Hookup coming your way on the Let's Talk Hookup app and radio network.
When you put on a pair of Maui Jim sunglasses, the world begins to look different. Colors are more vivid. Contrast is clearer. Details are crisper. Wherever your vision leads you, beauty follows. With polarized lenses that eliminate glare and enhance color, Maui Jim sunglasses won't change the world. They'll change the way you see it. Color, clarity, detail. Maui Jim.
One of the dream trips for most anglers is Alaska. There are so many lodges. How do you make a choice? It's easy. Choose the one most Let's Talk Hookup listeners return to time after time. Kingfisher Charters in Sitka, Alaska. No one does it better than Kingfisher Charters. They offer the best service, the most comfortable accommodations, fantastic food, and the finest charter captains in Sitka. All for the ultimate value. One visit and you will understand why nobody beats Kingfisher Charters. Sitka is famous for some of the best runs of salmon in Alaska. And if giant Alaskan halibut is your target, the expert captains at Kingfisher Charters know the hot spots and can put you on a fish of a lifetime. Plenty of rockfish and huge lingcod are there too. And when it comes to fish processing, the best in Alaska is Kingfisher Charters. It's all included in your package. In fact, everything is included except tips. It is truly amazing how the Kingfisher crew continues the quality of service they deliver year after year. Kingfisher Charters, 800-727-6136 or check kingfishercharters.com.
When it comes to fishing rods for saltwater, there's just one name you need to know: CalStar. Take, for example, the Graphiter series. It's a true graphite and fiberglass composite rod, the finest it's ever been built. And for anglers seeking traditional performance, durability, and quality at an affordable price, the CalStar West Coast series of rods and blanks are the ones for you. Their master craftsmen bring decades of rod building experience to every rod they make. So if you want your fishing rods to be truly state-of-the-art, I always recommend CalStar at fine tackle stores everywhere.
A top fleet and superb fishing is what Seaforth Sport Fishing in Mission Bay is all about. With free parking and fully stocked tackle shop, it's no wonder Seaforth Sport Fishing is a favorite among anglers. Come aboard top boats like the Aztec, Cortez, Endeavor, Apollo, Outer Limits, El Gato Dos, Pride, Tribute, Pacifica, Pacific Voyager, and the Voyager. Plus the new Seaforth, Sea-Watch, and San Diego offer the finest half and full day trips available. Seaforth Sport Fishing. For charters or regular open party schedule, check seaforthlanding.com. Run by fishermen, for fishermen in Mission Bay.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. All right, the big winner going fishing, joining Fred on the Daily Double for 2, as well as that great CCA calendar. That's going to Jim in Lakeside. Jim, congratulations. You're going to love fishing on the double.
All right, going half day with, and now the schedule on the Daily Double?
8:30 to 2:30. 8:30 in the morning to 2:30 in the afternoon. And I tend to fish a little late in the afternoon sometimes.
Make reservations, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and then Mission Belle, what's the schedule?
We depart 6 a.m. every day.
Every day.
Make reservations.
Full day, make reservations. And how do they make reservations?
Point Loma Sport Fishing,
All right.
619-223-1627.
For both the Daily Double and the Mission Belle.
Yes, sir.
And you can do it online, right?
Yes, sir.
PointLomaSportFishing.com.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, guys. Great
Thank
show.
you. It's awesome,
and
guys.
thanks to Dave in the studio there. And thank you to Adam for all he does on the app. And we'll be back to next Saturday and Sunday. Next Saturday, Captain Aaron Barnhill, commercial albacore fisherman, of course, former long-range captain, too. That's going to be an interesting show next Saturday. Next Sunday, Captain Mike Pritchard from the Tribute will be stepping off the boat and right into the world headquarters here to tell us all about it. Thanks for listening today. We'll see you next week, right back here on the Let's Talk Hookup app and radio network.